for the natural, but he's going to move back, and that was actually a very clever play from heGEmOni, just to get it out. Oh, thank you. That is something that I needed to know. You didn't see that. Well then, boys and girls, I've actually done a successful job at casting to myself! Woohoo! Now, back into the game, we do see the first set of zerglings moving out, taking out this probe, and they're going to very quickly move across the map and see, hey, there's a cannon and a gateway. Assuming that this overlord can tell quite easily. And we do see this map quite a big favourite of Dustin Browder, because there's destructible rocks everywhere. Destructible rocks here and here. And yes, destructible rocks at 2 locations does count as absolutely everywhere on this map. Destructible rocks, how are you feeling today? Yeah. How about you? Yeah. Excellent. Destructible rocks doing what destructible rocks do. They sit there. Ah. It's just like being at the office on a workday with no classes. Sounds like me yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Woohoo! The field trip week. Now, 7x core going down for Hyrlis. Are we going to see a bit of a Sentry Immortal style play, or are we going to see more of a defensive style turtle play, which will push him on towards 3 bases, perhaps Blink and Templar tech, to try and deny any kind of harassment from Mutalisks or Nidus? It remains to be seen. As of yet, we do see that speed has not started for heGEmOni, so he will be quite vulnerable should a Sentry Immortal push be coming, or any kind of strong warp gate push which would come within the next couple of minutes. However, right now we do see heGEmOni going for a very defensive style, sending these lings out on actually quite nice rally points. However, I'd like to see him patrolling along this area, because where that zergling is going right now, if you check here, it's not going to spot this location too well. I believe it's possible to hide a probe there. It won't be possible to hide a pylon, but definitely a probe could hide there easily enough. Nice creep spread going down from the natural towards the 3rd, and then going to begin moving out across the map. But again, as yet, still no zergling speed. However, with the extra gases being taken, we should be seeing a transition into lair tech relatively soon. Meanwhile, it's just drones and drones and drones and lava injects, keeping the energy quite low on each of these queens, which is a nice thing to see. Each one has about 1 inject free, and then 1, soon to be 2, there goes the lair down at the natural and zergling speed. So he is going to be vulnerable for a short period of time. However, oh, supply block, never a good thing. The supply block here is slightly unfortunate. We'd like to see heGEmOni push on top of that. However, he's in no immediate danger as his opponent is going for a bit more of a defensive style sentry play. And yes, while he is getting his observer, I'd actually like to see him begin with a Immortal rather than observer, but we should be seeing Immortal production quite soon. Be quiet, game. Lair is now completing. Are we going to be seeing spy attack? We do see an Overseer morphing to deny any kind of Dark Templar play, but what I'd like to see is if this is going to be Spire, or if he's going to very heavily invest into the Roaches. Macro Hatch going down. We're probably going to be seeing the Stefano-style Max Roach play, I would imagine. However, this has been delayed quite a bit by, unfortunately, the abundance of supply blocks which heGEmOni has undergone, as you can see by this little flood of overlords here. First Immortal moving out now. We should be seeing another couple of them in production relatively soon, but we do see that Hyrlis is afraid either of DTs, or he's afraid that his opponent's going to have Burrow. And we do see here, Blue Reconstitution, that's not a Burrow move, that's the Roach movement speed. We also see +1 attacks finishing, and with this kind of push, he's just going to play passively, take his third, and perhaps move on to Colossus tech. So we're going to be in for quite a long game, and this Changeling here, it's going to be spotted and taken out, but not after getting a complete scout of everything. And the Zergling moving in does get a nice scout of the third, where an additional set of balance are going down. And again, the supply blockage for one of these players. We do see Hyrlis is supply blocked. And this, considering there's a massive flood of speed roaches heading his way, is going to be quite dangerous. But some very nice force fields managing to trap a lot of these units. However, there's just a small gap where a lot of them can escape. But a very nice defense, not losing the Immortal, who, while he did significant damage, actually didn't manage to do that much. We do see a small offshoot of roaches here, moving up to take out the expansion, or to try and distract the army. And actually, he's managed to split the army well enough. He takes out the Immortals, meanwhile these roaches here are enough to take out these Stalkers. They're going to be deflected, but a large swell of roaches getting rallied across map is going to actually take out any reinforcing units from Hyrlis. And heGEmOni, with a very nice split of his roaches, is actually going to be able to take this army apart and take out this third base. And we see that this cannon has also been disabled. While an extra 20 damage a second, it doesn't sound like very much, it actually does tell quite a lot. And there goes the Nexus. And at this point, heGEmOni could actually just send a large swell of speed zerglings across the map and win the game. Hyrlis doing a good job with his Immortals to try and actually get some type of defense here. However, the roaches do manage to pick off too many things. They're going to pick up these Zords, walking on the low ground, and they're actually going to be able to take out these gateways as well. Gateway, one forge, moving forward. He's going to sacrifice a lot of this army to Immortal Fire. However, there are just too many roaches, more being rallied down to the third, and as soon as this push is taken out, we're actually going to see this second swell of roaches here move in, take out this gas, and then move into the natural. And this position is now completely unwinnable. Hyrlis knows it, and he taps out. Good game. And we are going to get a chance to view the brackets on the Fusion Slugs forum a little bit later on. So, on the map Shikaris Plateau, sending his first Overlord, and currently making drones, as Zergs do. We have the blue Zerg pieces, Mr. heGEmOni Chiohemni. A happy man, despite being one game down. We do have his opponent, the red Protoss, rallying his 90 probe out to make that pylon, then possibly to scout for an early pull. We have Mr. Hyrlis. Now, is Hyrlis going to go for Gateway first or Forge first? Remains to be seen. I'm quite a fan of this, of going for Gateway and then Forge on this map. simply because it allows you to get your tech faster, allows you to do a lot more damage, and actually going Gateway then Forge doesn't actually delay your Nexus by that much. And against someone who's not like Master or Grandmaster level, will allow you to disguise your expansion, much in the same way that I managed to pull off against drones during the playoffs earlier. The only game I took, and damn it, I'm going to enjoy it. However, I was not able to play my PvPs versus Battletoast, a bit unfortunate, but that's something that's going to happen over time. We do see a 15-16 pool going down, and we're going to be seeing an expansion pretty soon by the look of things. The Hyrlis is wise to this, and he's actually just patrolling the Pope to delay this expansion. Soon going to be throwing down a pylon, or scouring back to see that indeed the hatchery has gone down. But instead it looks as though he's just going to send it home or send it to the watchtower. Under the watchful eye of this overlord. And it's my good friends, Destructible Orcs 1 and 2. How you doing, sir? Yeah. I hate that guy. How about you? I love my neighbor. I hate my neighbor. There we go. We have the domestic dispute of the Destructible Rocks. And was that a Nexus first? Had I been looking at the production tab, I would have been able to tell. Let's see. We have 30 seconds, and we have 51 seconds. That indeed was a Nexus first. Yes! Do see Hyrlis does have quite a large number of units currently down. Interesting placement for that first cannon. And I do have to wonder, that probe actually cannot block that entire distance by itself. So perhaps something better would have been to have this pylon back here, perhaps use a Cybernetics core as part of the gateway, or as part of the way in. And really? Evidently, that probe could hold the gap. Hero Probe, with his first kill, is just going to go back to mining. Meanwhile, we do see that the third expansion is going down, and again, heGEmOni is going for his delayed speed. Queen pops out, and vomits immediately. Ah, that thing we do when we're born. Blah. Vomitage, it is fun. We do see the Overlords in position out here, ready to suicide in at a moment's notice should the scout prove necessary. However, heGEmOni is going to be able to tell with this Overlord at the very least the gas timings, which can actually allow him to determine a lot. From 3 there's going to be a heavy gateway pressure, from 4 either Stargate or some kind of robotic style push, or, with neither, quite probably a third base. Now third base is complete and the queen has made its way down here. We do see a decent number of queens, and heGEmOni again staying relatively on top of his lava injects. However, I'd like to see him use the spare energy he's got in this queen in the main, throw down a creep tumor and actually spread the creep towards the natural, then out towards the third, because at the moment he would be at great risk against a 4-gate, and as it is, his opponent could be going for some kind of blink timing, or could be going for a delayed 4-gate pressure. But with the 5 gates currently in production, it's not likely that Hyrlis is going to do that extreme of a push. He does need to move out and actually confirm the presence of this third base. It's natural to assume a Zerg's going to have the natural expansion. Haha, see what I did there? However, it is extremely important that you go and verify if you've got your third, or if you're actually going to be against some kind of 2-base muter play, because unprepared, 2-base muter will kill you. we do see that as yet Blink has just completed, and +2 should be started relatively soon. And shortly thereafter we should be seeing a lot of them stalkers underway. And meanwhile we see a spine crawler going down at the third, perhaps to defend against any kind of small aggression that moves in, but any pressure that could come would have arrived by now. So this is more just a precaution against scouting or the odd 1 or 2 zealots which are going to move in to harass. Meanwhile, we see a spire. And without realizing, we see that Hyrlis has actually gone for the blind counter to this, which is Blink. And should he move out with this gateway push, he will actually be able to shut down heGEmOni cold, despite the large number of speed zerglings he's going to have. +1/+1 and 28 zerglings currently in production, along with his macro hatch. And despite the large number of zerglings, this is not going to do a tremendous amount against a large number of +1 zealots and stalkers with Blink. However, what I'd like to see is for Hyrlis to move out and actually get a proxy pylon together with this. Observer's going to support the unit composition, and he should be getting some zealots and other such to help his push, but he needs that forward pylon. And the Zerglings moving into a horrible choke position, but they do force 2 force fields. Nice little victory there for him. But he's now started his mutant production. He's going to continue massing up lanes. He should be able to actually move in and attack the natural, or perhaps again try and attack this choke point and go for the third, which he needs to verify the presence of. But as he temporarily had the watchtower, he knows there's no third at the moment, and he is actually relatively safe. So heGEmOni getting the Mutalisks, actually going to be ready to move in and attack this army quite soon. Nice force fields, trapping away most of these Zerglings. He's actually going to get a free pass now to take out this expansion. And very nice force field zoning in these units, and we see the Immortal, just like the StarCraft video, killing off quite a lot of units. But a blink forward into the Zerglings. Oh, that was painful. The surround has happened, and this entire army is going to go down. And that is unfortunate. Even though he's managed to take out this expansion, we do see that Hyrlis is now playing heavily from behind. Meanwhile, we have a harassment here from heGEmOni, taking out quite a large number of probes. Let's have a look at the unit skill tab. That's the APM. We see that he's managed to kill off 10 in that harassment, at the cost of actually not too many. We do actually see, with the loss of that army, even though he's getting some good zealot pressure in the main, he's going to lose this war prison, and he soon after will lose all of these zealots. That's actually a large number of resources which he's not going to be able to get back. However, Hyrlis has scouted that there's a large number of muters, and he now knows he needs these stalkers, he needs to keep them inside the main, and needs to be defensive. heGEmOni going for a smart play, taking this 4th, should be taking this 5th base relatively soon, and he's just going to move into the back of the protoss base and try and deal some damage to these cannons, take these out, and deal as much damage to this probe line as he can. And these mutants are going to arrive just in time. They arrive just before the cannons, and a large number of probes managed to get killed there, killing another 12 in that harassment. Looking at the units, we do see that he's managed to double his opponent in worker supply, which Actually, considering his opponent doesn't have such great upgrades right now, just the +2 attack, he's been slumping a little bit in favor of units and delaying this +3. We do see that Hyrlis is now going to be forced into a very, very defensive position. Does manage to snag one very nicely, but I'd like to see him try and blink down to the low ground, perhaps keep an observer in this area or in this area to spot the Mutaflock as it comes. Because as it is, they're going to get some... Oh, nice blink, manages to deal a bit of damage. But as it is, the Mutaflock... Oh no! Managing to snipe a nice number of mutas, and that is just what Hyrlis needed. Despite that, however, his opponent is actually getting some good tech. He's got the Infestor tech, he's getting this +2/+2 for his Zerglings, getting a nice set of Spine Crawlers here, should be building more in the future, and is soon going to be getting his Hive tech. And there it goes. Meanwhile, we'll see an Overseer is currently underway. Perhaps not so much going to use the Contaminate ability, but definitely going to be able to do quite a bit in the way of just throwing Changelings out, perhaps checking on this base when this Zergling eventually dies, checking here, just gaining a little bit of extra map vision, a bit of extra map presence, and perhaps open up some avenue of counterattack for this very large number of Zerglings. How many? We have currently 86 Zerglings with +2/+2, and soon after this hive finishes we should be seeing the crackling upgrade, the adrenal glands, underway. Now I'd like to see heGEmOni continue to be annoying and actually use these mutants in harassment, perhaps try and draw this army out of position so that he can harass this expansion with Zerglings, or it's entirely possible after he starts getting his Infestor tech, he's going to move out across the map with this army. Burrow upgrade, a very nice unit to have, in addition to Flyer Carapace. Not quite such an expected upgrade, but still an essential upgrade to get in the late game for your Broodlords when you eventually go for the Infested Broodlord tech composition. And this army is moving. Come on, computer, hold it together. Psystorm has just finished, so any... Oh, he's just warped his High Templars into Archons. And oh god, this is what happens when Zerglings go hello. I'm sorry boys and girls, this is just Zerglings. Zerglings break my computer when I'm streaming no matter what quality I'm at. But he does manage, with this massive number of Zerglings and Mutalisks, another 50 in production. He's going to be able to move in, take out this third. A missed Psystorm does actually get the Mutalisks on the way back through. And again, nice Psystorms, taking out his own Stalker there, but forcing the way of these units. But at the cost of his expansion. And we do see +3/+3 for Zerg melee attacks underway, but no crackling upgrade. I'm going to have to tell you about this afterwards. When you finish the hive, Zerg players, if you're watching, you have no excuses for forgetting this upgrade. It is the single most important upgrade for your basic tier 1 units that you could ever possibly get. And as you can see, he definitely has enough money for it, despite saving up to get his Infestors and his Corruptors. And we do see he's continuing quite a bit with his Ling Muta. And actually, at this point, that may not be such a good idea given there are this many High Templar out. With a good amount of energy, this many High Templar with Psystorm can actually do significant damage. But I believe he's just trying to bait storms out with these Zerglings, because at this moment they are expendable. We see in the units tab, it's 85 drones to 40. He's nearly maxed. He essentially is maxed. And at this point he's just building up his tech, should be building up a wall of Spine Crawlers across the center of the map very soon. Perhaps here, zoning his opponent into more of a choke point, sacrificing these muters, definitely, and then replacing them with corruptors, infestors. We do see, now's the time, these zerglings move in, draw out 2 storms, and they're just going to do as much damage as they can. They do manage to actually get 1 immortal for their trouble, and a nice bit of damage, and are they going to get this Templar? That would be huge if they did, but they managed to bait a lot of storms in these muters. Should they go for it, they would actually be able to bait out yet more storms. And again, nice defensive play. We should be seeing, interestingly enough, we don't see infestors and corruptors in production. There's the 9 corruptors and the large number of zerglings, which are now 3-3. Again, still no adrenal glands upgrade. Get that upgrade, it's important. Highly recommend it, cannot praise it well enough. You see a large number of zerglings moving in. At this point, that's actually just not that cost effective. However, they did get a nice scout out. They see there's no 3rd base, but Hyrlis is actually just playing this out right. He's getting his +3, should be getting his shield upgrade, says he's going for Archons now. At the very least getting his +1 shields and his +3 armor for his Stalkers and Archons, and he should be working towards a strong push before these Broodlords can complete. And actually managing to pick off 2 units there for free. And he will get a Broodlord for free, which is always nice. But at this point, oh, another free Broodlord. That's just unfortunate. We do see here that this timing push is actually hit at a rather strong timing. Nice storm and the mineral line. Slightly overkill, however, because a large wave of zerglings now would actually be able to clear out this army completely. However, we do see in the units in the production, rather than going for any kind of units, we do see 14 Broodlords in the main and a large number of spine crawlers in production. This push is definitely not going to get much further than the 3rd base, and with this large number of spine crawlers, I'm not even sure it's going to be able to get up into this 3rd. Now he does manage to pick up a few of these spine crawlers, actually arriving just in time to pick them off. However, here come the Broodlords. And I don't care how many Blink Stalkers you have versus 14 Broodlords, that is something you do not survive. And oh my god, nice counterattack with these Lings. They walk right into the natural. They're going to just go into the main now and start working on these tech structures. That is huge. We see the damn GG Lords and a good luck in the next round. It's game.